food. Just a short story before I get to my presentation. So how many of you have watched the movie KGF? I'm actually from KGF. So KGF is a place in India called Kolar Goldfields. That's my native. I grew up in Bangalore though, which is 100 kilometers away from KGF. It's called Silicon Valley of India. And even though I studied all my life in Bangalore, I was always going back to my native for all the festivals. So festivals are a reason for us to eat more food. That's what I realized, right? Whenever you go celebrate, just okay, go do your prayer, wear new clothes and all that stuff. But then there used to be this tradition of banana leaf food, where all the women in the house, the men would help in bringing all the logistics and helping in chopping the vegetables and all. And all the women in the house, they would start cooking at literally 6 a.m. in the morning, and then everything would be ready by 1 p.m. And there used to be a huge range of dishes, starting from kheer and a lot of sabjis, rice, and it used to be like a huge festival, right? And when I moved to the US, all that was completely gone, right? So I used to cook my rice in a small rice cooker, make some kheer in my own bowl, and then eat alone, right? Which was not good. But then I also realized that my food habits drastically changed when I went to the US. I was so spoiled, I didn't even know how to cook. But then I started eating a little unhealthy food because it was easy, because it was convenient, because I was super busy with all my coursework, research, and so on. And then I started to realize that it's the problem with not only me, but also many other students. And the US food is only dessert, I feel, right? It's just morning you eat a cereal with milk, and then you have your Starbucks coffee, and then you have a donut for lunch, a donut with a pizza, and then evening again it's some burger, right? So I was really facing this challenge of how to eat good and healthy food. So this pandemic changed a couple of things for me, as it changed a lot of things for everyone. A lot of people started using devices to monitor their health, such as wearing Fitbit. How many of you wear Fitbit? Oura Ring, maybe. Yeah, I tried wearing it, but then I realized the biggest problem for me was I used to wear it when I was doing a good job. I used to log my food when I was eating healthy. When I used to eat donut or eat a drink of frappuccino, I said, no, I'm not going to log my food, right? So that's the biggest problem I have. With all these food logging applications, I've been breaking my head about it as well. Our lab has developed an open source food logger, which allows you to log your meals by taking photos, and it will automatically pass the nutrients. And then I said, what if I just don't log it? And the idea is a research question that I'll encourage you all to think about would be how to make food logging quote unquote invisible, right? Now we are walking, if I have my phone in my pocket, it's automatically tracking the steps. I don't have to actively go and log it. So there's this additional layer of, there's barrier to food logging, which is super important. People who log their food, as research has shown that they're 20% healthier compared to others. 20% is a random number, right? I don't have any result to prove it, but people who are motivated enough to log their food means that they're mindful of what they're eating. And it's not only important to track food, but also exercise and sleep, because everyone knows how that they play an integral component of our food, of our body functions. There was a study in the UK which said they took two identical twins, they gave them the same food at the same time, but then they observed that the body's response was completely different. The amount of glucose level, the blood pressure was different, and the kind of responses after eating food was much different, right? So we are such a diverse group of people with different palates, with different gut microbiomes going on in our body, and it's super important to personalize whatever recommendations you're getting either from the app or from external chefs to suit your dietary needs. And therefore, generic diet recommendations don't work. You just go to, I was discussing with chefs on the table over lunch, they were saying, these generic recommendations don't work. Like, oh, take 5 cups of vegetables per day. That's what CDC says, Center for Disease Control. Like, what is 5 cups and who is really measuring these 5 cups? Like, no one knows. They say, oh, just do 15 minutes of yoga, everything will be good, right? No, there's yoga fat, there's all this keto fat and everything. Every day I see the Instagram, there's some new fat, so I stopped seeing Instagram, which is nice. I want to be able to also take into account some of the dietary restrictions that I have. Say I don't eat non-veg on Saturdays, right? So how do I somehow input this into the algorithm which will make sure that it doesn't give me, oh, eat this sausage on Saturday, right? Something very simple. Some people have a lot of allergies related to gluten, nuts, and how do you take that into account? And also, I'm trying to log food in different ways. Sometimes I keep a diary and say, this is what I ate, and then sort of dietary recall method. If some nutritionists in the house are present, they'll know it. And so I want you folks to think about what you use currently for getting food recommendations. Apart from Yelp, how many of you use Google Maps to check restaurants around you? Right? I did a quick search, eateries near IIIT-Delhi. Little Atop seems like a good place. Have anyone been there? No? Okay. Not a good place then, right? Calorie Kitchen, this place, Chow Bella, I don't know. I'm very skeptical of going there. Because it has no ratings, nothing, right? So I'm basing off my suggestion, my plan of what to eat. Like people are saying what to eat. So I'm basing off my ideas of what to eat based on what other people have told, right? What other people have reviewed. Oh, 10,000 people have said this product on Amazon is good, and that's why I'm going to buy it. Which is probably right for Amazon products because it's like a product which you can sort of return. It's not very related to what you're doing in your daily life. Maybe the shelf life is very less, but now we're talking about your body here, right? So I'm not saying I have answers to all these questions and whatever I'm developing, whatever research I'm doing is going to solve all these problems. But the idea is to think about these kind of aspects, right? We need to incorporate three aspects according to me. One is what you're currently eating. Second, what you would like to eat, and what is your health goal or health plan, right? For example, today we had roti, sabji, dal, rice, right? And then say I feel like eating Thai food later in the evening. But I also want to make sure that my carb intake is less, and I also want it to be tasty, and also sort of have it in a good restaurant. So how the algorithm or the system or the framework should be able to consider these aspects as opposed to just getting reviews on Yelp. And therefore, we are building something called the Food and Wellbeing Navigator. Well-being is a very broad term. What is well-being for one person may be different for well-being for another person. Right? How many of you faced challenges related to mental health because of all the COVID pandemic and the stay-at-home orders? I'm a very social person, right? I try to go out and get fresh air. A lot of old people suffered a lot because of the pandemic. A lot of youngsters, my sister just sits at home and browses YouTube 10 hours straight, right? I'm like, I can't imagine doing that 10 years ago when I was her age. But then now it's this trend of COVID babies and lack of social interaction, which is somehow making people very immobile, which is not what humans are designed to do. And so, apart from taking people's personal food and health data, we're also trying to take populational level food and health data based on certain databases through computational gastronomy tools such as RecipeDB, DietRx, SpiceRx, and so on, right? So this is where the community building is happening. We're saying we are also developing this framework. You're also building something similar, and now it's a chance for us to collaborate and sort of do great things together, right? Because all these systems are somehow in isolation. This navigator is maybe available to specialized athletes, coaches who are able to provide that resource to people who are training these high intensity environments, but it's not available for the layman. So we are trying to build this open source community, and we're not saying we have all the answers to these questions, but we want to collect maximum data based on building for personal use and also for population use, and combine them into a food and well-being navigator. How we are doing this and how we plan to do it is parts of it is through something called the World Food Atlas, which you can read more about and you can talk to me. The idea is to make it location specific, make it individual specific, and also take aggregated information into account. I'm not saying we are going to ignore Google reviews and Yelp reviews. I'm saying we're going to take that into account and your personal preferences. This is our wonderful team, as Professor Bhalve already introduced. Professor Ramesh Jain is the director of the Institute for Future Health, where I'm a part of, and he's one of the pioneers in food computing. Professor Amir Rahmani, he has joint departments in the nursing school and also computer science department, has a lot of experience with wearable devices and accelerating, machine learning acceleration on wearable devices itself. Iman Azimi is a postdoc who has experience in running these cohort studies related to pregnant women, sleep, analyzing sleep data. And Tom Andriola is a person who is a very important collaborator. I'm going to talk about his data, not his data contributions to our institute. And of course, the person who's smiling there is me. And Alvi Rastami is the guy who's developed the open source food logger. He's also taken initiatives and lead in the World Food Atlas, the Person Food Model, and so on and so forth, right? As a team, we are trying to build something called the AI-driven context-aware food recommendation system framework. So a lot of keywords, which is important. That's what I'm putting in the abstract. That's what people read on LinkedIn and all these papers, right? AI-driven because we are in the computer science department, we want to use these tools for giving personalized recommendation. Context-aware is because we want to incorporate two aspects. One aspect is related to the person's current situation where that person is geographically located, and also environmental data. For example, well-being is affected by the weather. If the Delhi's weather is gloomy and very low, you just tend to close all the doors, be very comfortable in a blanket and sleep. They don't want to go work out and they go feel all energetic. But then that's something that we want to take into account. Like say there's so much air pollution outside, we want to take air quality parameters into account while giving you recommendations on exercise. Right? I can't say, oh, air quality outside PM 2.5 level is off the roof, and then I'm telling you to go jog in Connaught Place. Like, that's not going to happen. So for all this AI-driven context-aware recommendation system, so what I'm going to show you in the next couple of slides is just a pipeline. What is like the machine learning pipeline that we're adopting? The first step in any pipeline is data collection. So all those infographics mean different things. It's not just like I was in some different world and put all these parameters. But just from top right would be like age, weight, height, heart rate, sleep, physical activity data, food data, body mass index, and muscle fat, muscle mass, and all the nutrition experts are there. I don't know much about it. And what we're trying to do is categorize these events into different streams based on a period of time over, like say, 3 years. So we have a specific data set that we are working with, which has components related to all these parameters over a period of before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. So the first step is visualization. We're going to see how to visualize this, and then we're going to use some machine learning techniques to understand how all these parameters interrelated, and also what is causing what. Like for example, is caffeine intake going to increase your average heart rate variability, for example? Or is having alcohol intake the previous night going to affect your sleep pattern the next day? This is combined with the environmental context to provide personal models, which is customized to you. And this is where the personalization aspect comes in. At the moment, you're thinking about initially small if-then rules to integrate all this data, but then the overall framework is to provide food and wellness recommendations through explainable AI is what I am specifically interested in. I'm interested in a couple of components. Explainable AI is, okay, you're getting this recommendation, the algorithm is telling you to eat this food or just generating this recipe, right? But how is it useful for you? What is the explanation? What's the reasoning behind it is something that I'm interested in. And the other aspect is how to use reinforcement learning techniques. For instance, you might have heard this game of machine beating people at chess, people at Go. That's what how to reduce my work, right? By giving the machine more work. That's what reinforcement learning is. How to design some reward system so that given certain amount of data, the framework automatically is updated over a period of time and is becoming intelligent without me always having to be there over a longer period of time. And this is while keeping in mind the overall well-being, right? We all love food. This is just a food for thought. You can see all these keywords again. If someone asks you what did Nitish say during his talk with 8 minutes, you can just tell this line, right? He spoke about personalized AI-driven food and well-being navigation systems to improve human and environmental health. And why is he so crazy about it? Because he wants to solve not only people's challenges related to this aspect, but also his own personal and want to improve his own personal health despite being in different geographical areas, despite being in constrained environments and having limited access to healthy and nutritious food, right? If you want to connect with me, here is what, if you scan this QR code, if you take out your mobile, if you open the camera app and you scan this QR code, it will take you to this page where you can have all this information related to my LinkedIn, Twitter, email. You can also access our labs work, UCI Institute for Future Health and Health SciTech. These are two labs that I'm involved in. You can also read our paper on World Food Atlas for Food Navigation, which has more details on how we are trying to build this food and well-being navigator. And you can, if you already haven't stopped by, please stop by my poster. It's the same presentation figurines that you can see there, but then I'll also, if you have any specific questions on what you incorporate, what is going on within each system, right? Say you want to learn more about causal inference, you can come and see. If it's already too late, you can just send me an email on LinkedIn. We can connect. And thank you so much, Professor Bagler. Thanks everyone.